friends, my name is Abby. I use she, her pronouns. I go by Mountain Mama Stitches here on Flosstube and on Instagram. You have found my Flosstube channel where I talk all about cross stitch, a little bit about life, and I'm excited to be here to just give an update. I believe this is episode number 5 for me. It has been like about 6 weeks, I think, since my last update, but much has happened in those 6 weeks, and so it's been quite busy. So I'll just dive right into that. If you've watched my episode 4, you might have seen that I experienced this pretty significant loss. A friend of mine died suddenly and tragically, and so in mid-April, I went home to West Virginia for almost a week and a half, which was really wonderful. It was very good to be with my friends and family, and I returned back to South Carolina feeling like I had gotten my feet back under me and I could, use my brain again. It's been all improvement since then. Of course, grief is not linear. It's definitely coming in waves, but I feel like I'm, back to my normal routine and back to reality. And thank you, just on that note, thank you for everyone who left really nice, sweet comments, caring comments on my Flosstube video. Your kind words were very much appreciated and really helped carry me through what was a pretty difficult time. And so then when I got back from West Virginia, I was home for about a week, and then I turned around and I flew to Seattle for a conference, the International Society for Autism Research Conference, which is the big conference that I go to every year about autism research. And it's so much fun because it's like a big family reunion for me. All the different people that I've worked with over the years are there. Also, Seattle is amazing, so it was fun to visit Seattle. And we also had a retirement party for one of my former mentors, and so that was really fun, and that's actually relevant because I'll show you the gift I stitched for her a little bit later. I got back from that conference, and then less than a week later, I think 5 days later, I turned around and flew back across the country to the West Coast to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, which was amazing. I went for a week with a good friend and colleague of mine, and we did a little writing retreat. She had actually won a week-long stay at an all-inclusive resort through a silent auction with her husband, but they decided that it didn't make sense for him to go right now for a variety of reasons, and so she invited me, and we wrote every day with the ocean breeze coming in through the doors and the sound of birds and waves, and it was so awesome. So we wrote every day on our papers and our different things we were working on, and then in the afternoon we sat by the pool. I drank a few margaritas. It was really good for me. So I'm back from that. I feel like a completely new human being after all of the chaos and stress and sadness of the last couple of months. And so I'm feeling very good and very excited to be here to show you what I've been working on. So I will jump right into it. In this video, I have 2 FFOs to show you, 1 finish, 1 start, and 5 different whips. So let's get into it. So let's start with FFOs. I'm going to show you a picture of the pillow that I finished as a gift for my mentor. If F-bombs offend you, avert your eyes or fast forward a little bit. I forgot to, of course, take videos of this when I finished it, but I do have a couple pictures, so I'll post those here. It was really fun to make. It was very easy. It was stitched on, the pattern is, I call the pattern My Only Regret. I don't remember what it's actually called, but it's by Dirty Cuss Stitch on Etsy, which is the funniest Etsy store name I've ever heard of. It was stitched on 36 count needle bling in Ween Beans. This is the 3rd small now that I have stitched on a very like a fat 1/8 of that fabric, and I'm loving it. It's so good for that. I started it on March 31st and finished it on April 26th. And I did use just 2 dinky dyes. I did the colors slightly different than the pattern calls for, but I used 2 dinky dyes that I thought were nice and complementary, that reminded me of my mentor and thought were really pretty on that fabric. And I stitched it for a total of, actually I don't know how many days it took. I think it was just 4 or 5 days tops, right? It only had 960 stitches in it. And I finished that, like I said, on April 26th. And then I fully finished it and took it to Seattle with me like the next day. So that was fun, really fun to make. She loved it. She thought it was hilarious. I knew she would. I knew that sort of humor would be funny to her. My other fully finished is not like exactly fully finished. Oh, hey, Kenny, there's my cat. Not exactly fully finished, but like really close. I basically finished my emotional support penguin for my son. I finished this the same day I finished my my only regret pillow, since I was like, well, I'm finishing pillows, I might as well do this one too. I just haven't actually done the stitching at the bottom to sew it up completely. So it's like almost there, but not quite. But it's so cute. Emotional support penguin. You're doing a good job. And the fabric on the back is amazing. I got this off of Etsy. It's so beautiful. This here is a blue penguin, or what's known as a little penguin or fairy penguin. If you've been on my channel before, you know my son has a thing for these penguins. There's a whole backstory. I will not bore you with it right now, but there's a whole backstory about the blue penguin. So I made sure the blue penguin was front and center on his pillow, and he loves it. I just need to finish it so we can actually like put it up in his room, because he's a pretty big fan of it. It's really cute. I don't have the information on what this was stitched on, but this was a finish in my last video, and I'll also put some details up above, but this was a finish in my last video if you want to go in and learn a little bit more about it from there. So there you go. My little emotional support penguin. I finished my pillows with some like polyfill in the corners, and then up top I put polyfill, and then I put lizard litter in the bottom, and then a little bit more polyfill, and then I sew it shut, which we'll eventually do. And I really like the weight and the like the heft of it, and then also the way it kind of sits. It like sits really nicely, can kind of prop itself up even sometimes. So that's how I do my pillows. I'm no expert. I've only done like 4 or 5, but I feel like I've got a good groove down now. Okay. My cat is just laid down on my finish, which I just ironed. Hey, come on, get out of here. Oh, God. Okay, come on. Move, buddy. He's a stinker. Okay, so let's move on to finishes. This is so exciting, but I finished my, let me get my little board out. I finished my tight shipwreck, which I know several of you adore. I've gotten lots of great comments on this one as I've worked on it. So let me show it to you. So here she is. Ah! How great is that? Oh, it's so good. I run a tight shipwreck. I love it so much. So this is stitched on 32 count. Picture this plus. It's an opalescent, so it's called Crystal Da Vinci. You can see the shimmer there. The pattern is Tight Shipwreck by Fits and Bricks on Etsy. And it the colors I used 2 Pirate and Robin colors. One was Imperial Purple and the other one was Amber. I love it. It's so much fun. So I placed it on this fabric, and I used these colors because of this like kind of orange modeling through here. I thought it looked really cool. It kind of like was reminiscent of the octopus, the sea monster, and then the purple brings out, it kind of really looks great on this very light, obviously, you know, lighter lavendery purple. So I worked on this for, let's see here, 7 days in May, and I finished it off. There were 988 stitches that I stitched in May, and I've worked on this primarily on the flight to Mexico and the flight back from Mexico. I actually finished it on the flight back from Mexico, and I worked on it like 1 day there. I did hardly any stitching. I was just very present and like focused on relaxing, and I feel like oftentimes I use stitching to like escape my reality or to like get my mind off things, whereas when I was there I just was really so like in the moment and relaxed and enjoying myself that I just didn't really find space. I didn't have space for stitching, and that's okay. It was great. So I worked on it. I think I put one thread in, and I happened to just be sitting on the balcony of our suite and overlooking the Pacific Ocean and watching the cruise ships come in and stitching on this. I thought that was kind of fun. I'll post a picture because I posted it on my Instagram. So I'll share a photo here too. But so that's when I finished it. I finished it on the plane ride home, and I think it looks awesome. I'm not sure how I'm gonna finish this, and I would love any advice you have. I was thinking maybe like an oval frame, like an oval hoop frame, maybe even. The problem with, I mean, I think that would look good. It's kind of an oval shape. The tricky thing is that I really love all this like modeling, and I'm afraid if it's like an oval frame, it's gonna like cut off. It would have to be kind of a big oval frame, because I think I'm gonna want a good bit of the fabric in like showing, so it shows some of that modeling. I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, if anyone has any advice, I am all ears and would love to hear how you would finish this if it were up to you. Now that I feel like my finishing skills have definitely like expanded. And so I'm kind of game to try anything. So if anyone has any creative suggestions, let me know. I may go for it because I just think it's great. I think I'm gonna put it in my office because I do feel like I run a tight shipwreck at work. I also run one at home, but I think this will look especially good in my office. All right, so that's my one finish. I'm so proud of it and very happy with how it turned out. And definitely recommend the pattern. It was very, very quick and easy. It had, let's see how many, 1,800 stitches altogether. So definitely very doable and pretty quick stitch. Okay, let me show you my start. I have one new start. Gotta find it. Okay. I have one new start, and I thought I would start this on my trip to Mexico, but like I said, didn't do much stitching. So when I finished my tight shipwreck on the way home, I then started this on the plane. I had it with me. And so this is my spring seeds, which is the spring season, like the spring pattern of the Korok seeds. Korok patterns. Wow, I'm really struggling with this. It's the spring pattern that goes with the winter pattern, which is called winter seeds. And it's what I'm calling my Korok seasons stitch. And I am stitching all of the seasons on one piece of fabric. I'm pulling it out of the hoop now to show you because I think it really does like provide good context when I can just show you exactly what I mean here. So I'm gonna it's very wrinkly because it was in my hoop obviously, but just to show you what this looks like, maybe. Kind of a mess. Where are my little clippy things? I swear. So I finished winter at the end of March, I think. Yeah, finished winter at the end of March, which was on pace for what I wanted. And then I didn't start, so I kind of just forgot about the spring one, which I want to finish by June, like the end of June, which is fine. I can do it, I think, or at least I'll get close. I kind of want to stitch them just when they're in their respective seasons. So this is my winter one, right? And here's where I started spring, the bottom right-hand corner of spring. I left 3 stitches in between because I am going to put some kind of border. I'm not sure what it's going to look like yet, but I am going to put some kind of border in between the 4 squares and then all around to kind of frame it. But it'll be right up against it like that. It's going to look super cute. These patterns are really fun to stitch. Like they're very, very fun. They're very colorful and they're creative and they have a nice sort of flow to them that make it very enjoyable to stitch on. You can see that one again, but you can see where my spring's coming in. I can't find my piece of paper about my spring. I don't know where it is. I had just had it. So maybe I'll find it, maybe I won't. Either way, it's on 32 count, Picture This Plus in Nessie, which is one of my favorite fabrics. I say it every time, but it's one of my favorite fabrics. It's so beautiful, so beautiful. I actually have this fabric being used in 2 different projects right now. And like I said, my goal is to finish it by the end of June. It has a little over 3,500 stitches in it, so I can do it if I am conscientious and like make sure I focus a little bit on it. And so I do have plans to work on this throughout May and throughout June, and hopefully we'll finish it as close to the end of June as I can, because I do want to try to stay on pace to have, you know, fall, you know, summer, spring done during spring, summer done by the end of summer, and then fall done by the end of fall. Wow, brain. So yeah, that is my spring seeds. The pattern is by Jed X Stitch. I got it on Etsy, but I think her patterns are also becoming available through local needle shops as well. And she's a genius. The patterns are amazing. Really, really enjoying it. Okay, so that was my only start. I'm really proud of myself, only one start. Granted, I haven't been near my stash 3 out of the last 6 weeks, so I didn't have access to anything to start it. So maybe I shouldn't give myself too much credit. Okay, so let's go on to whips, and I will say that I made a ton of really amazing progress on some of my favorite big whips, and I'm very, very proud of that. So because sometimes I tend to get into like immediate gratification, instant gratification mode, and I just want to like stitch like my current favorite, like the thing I just started, or the little things that can be finished quickly. But I really put a lot of great work into some of my big girls, and I'm proud of that. So the first one is my Ernestine Briere. This is a pattern by Reflet de Soie. It is gorgeous. I'm gonna just do this so you don't have to see the light through it. Look at those stitches. So this is being stitched on 20 count Ada by Fiber on a Whim, called Cream and Sugar. A lot of people have used this colorway. You might even recognize it. It's a really nice off-white with a bit of more of a pink tint to it than a yellow tint, though there is some yellow through it as well. It's very lightly modeled. It's beautiful. I got a huge piece of it, so I have lots left over, even though this piece is massive. I mean, this piece is gonna be huge. I have a lot left over for other things too. Now this pattern has 46,348 stitches in it. This is my birthday start. So I started this on January 31st of this year as my birthday start, and maybe I will finish it before I die. We'll see. But I did make a lot of progress on it. I actually stitched on it for 5 days, and I got 1,665 stitches in. I was really motivated to get, I felt like I was stitching on this leaf for like ever, and it was really boring to me because it's like just a couple different colors, and they're very like hardly distinguishable, which is beautiful. It makes for this a lovely, lovely shading. But I was like, oh, this is so boring. I want to work on a flower. So my goal was to get through this flower, and I did that. And then I had a little bit of time that evening, and I just did these two just because I wanted to. So this is just one tiny part of one corner. I will like show you the picture and like circle the part that this is. This pattern is huge. It's huge. On 20 count, it's even huge. And it's very, very detailed, but I will tell you what, it is the most beautiful thing I've ever stitched. Hands down. It's like art. It's art. It's so gorgeous, and the shading is so subtle and amazing, and it's really it's not finicky to stitch. It's not tedious. The way the shading is, it's very organic, and there's not a ton, there's color changes, but they're not like confetti color changes. They're like in like little blocks, little sections, so you can kind of get into a rhythm before you have to change your thread color. Oh, it's so beautiful. I wish you guys could see how pretty it was in person. I'm stitching it 1/1 with the Vicky Clayton Silks conversion for this pattern. I gotta show it to you because it's so beautiful. It's just gorgeous. I could pet these threads all day long. But here they're kind of a mess. Here are the I should probably braid these, huh? Because they're getting a little crazy at the ends. The Vicky Clayton Silks And like you can see here, some of the colors are barely different. I mean, they're different, but they're not vastly different. So that shading, that's all in one section, it's so effective. It's so beautiful. Same with the pinks and the greens. A lot of them are like similar, but just barely different. And it just makes for such a nice effect. So to say I enjoyed stitching on this would be an understatement. I absolutely loved working on it. I did set it aside for a little bit, and I don't really have any plans to bring it out again anytime soon. But it definitely was like reinforcing and made me realize how much I would love actually making progress on this. And so yeah, I'm very pleased. Just love that pattern so much. Yeah, I think that's all the important information about that. Let's see here, let's see what else I worked on. Oh, another thing I'm working on currently, another big girl, is my Mirabilia Snow Queen. So she's in the hoop because I'm actively stitching her. Like I was just working on her last night. But I'll try to like show you a little bit. So like this is her waist is like right here, and her, head and everything are up there. And then this is her dress. And I was about to write here, and then I am working downward in her dress. I did this a little bit too, but I'm just basically extending her dress downward. And I'm gonna try to go until I get to the bottom of this section of dress that's all white. My white stitches actually, I usually don't like white stitching, but they're looking really good. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, for 2/2 with white DMC, like I'm feeling pretty darn good about how they look. Maybe it's the fabrics, it's something, I'm not sure. But this fabric is gorgeous. It is 32 count Picture This Plus linen in Gothic. I'm not gonna pull it all out, but if you look at my previous, I might have a picture. If you look at, I'll try to remember, I think I have a picture from my whip parade. If I do, I'll put it up. But the fabric looks like the Northern Lights. It's really beautiful, and it's, I think, the most perfect fabric for this pattern. It is a Mirabilia, I think I said that, but just in case I didn't, it's a Mirabilia Snow Queen. This was pulled as my whip go for May, which was convenient because it's Mira May. And so I didn't take it with me on trips because it's dark. It would be hard to stitch basically anywhere but in my very well lit stitching corner. And also there's a ton of flosses. I mean, it's like so many flosses on this floss ring. Let me show you. So I was like, no, she doesn't travel. This girl doesn't travel. So she stayed home, but now that I'm home and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, I will hopefully, I'm just gonna kind of work on her for the rest of May, and hopefully I'll get some good progress and be able to really see, sort of see that progress. I really like it when I can see the progress on these big projects that are a little harder to, they're a commitment, right? A long-term commitment. But like, look at all these flosses. There's so many. So yeah, she don't travel. She stays home. But they're beautiful. The colors are just amazing. So you had to like double the ring thing, so it would be big enough. So yeah, I'm really enjoying working on her. I worked on her last night. I worked on her one other night before I left for Mexico. I did just get back from Mexico like 3 days ago, so I haven't been home for very long. But I worked on her since you last saw her, which would have been my whip parade. I worked on her for 2 days, both in May, and I got 501 stitches in. But I'm really pleased, and I'm gonna just keep on working on her because she's gorgeous. I just love her so much on this fabric. And now I'm 16% complete, roughly, which is kind of nice, so. All right, so that was my Snow Queen. Ooh, let me show you this one. The other one I worked on a lot. I made really significant progress on was my Secret Garden. So let me clip it up here and then show it to you because she's so beautiful. So this is a tiny modernist pattern. It's called the Secret Garden. It is, themed around the book, The Secret Garden. And here it is. Oh, you guys. So this was an older whip. I started this one, let's see here. Oh, and here's what the pattern looks like. Hold on. Here's what the pattern looks like when it's done. Excuse my 1, 2, 3 stitch sticker. I always do that for some reason. But it says, if you look the right way, you can see that the whole world is a garden. So cool. So it's just this beautiful door and then all these beautiful flowers and this pretty yellow frame. So I had started this one quite a while ago. Come on, Abby, where is it? There it is. Okay. I started on March 20th, 2024. So this is one of my oldest whips. Not my oldest, but one of my oldest, probably one of my 5 oldest whips. And I kind of just been like languishing. I hadn't really paid much attention to it, but with spring, you know, blooming, everything in bloom, and I think I tend to like working on things. Like it seems like so far at their 1-year anniversary, they tend to be on my mind more, and I don't even know if it's intentional. It's just like, oh, I think I started such and such project around this time last year, and here's why I remember that, right? And so I was really kind of motivated to work on it, and so I pulled it out, and I took it to Seattle with me. And I had gotten to kind of like here-ish, with some exceptions. Like I think I had the greens done, but not the flowers. So like all around here was done to like about there. And then I did all of this on my trip to Seattle. It's a long flight, and while I was there, like in the evenings in my hotel room when I was just kind of chilling out, and then also on my flight back. So I made a ton of progress. It looks so good. It's so beautiful. And this door, just look at the door. Oh, it's gorgeous. Anyway, very happy. So let's see, this is on 16 Count Ada by Witchelt, Country French Latte. I really love Witchelt Adas. I hate their linens, they're too stiff for me, but their Adas are lovely. I got this one from 1, 2, 3 Stitch, hence the sticker. And this is using all of the DMC called for. It has almost 7,500 stitches in it altogether. The last time you saw it was my whip parade, and I don't think I had even worked on it since August. I hadn't worked on it since August. So it would have been 8 months, no big deal. But like I said, I was itching to work on it, and I just pulled it out one day. I was like, you're coming with me. I had stitched 1,501 stitches on it, and I'm now up to 80%. I stitched on it for 5 days. The one lesson I did learn the hard way with this, I'm still kind of figuring out like traveling with cross stitch. I think it's different when you're in the car, right? Because you have a little bit more space to like bring extra stuff, or like, you know, when you're traveling by plane, I'm trying to like limit the number of things I bring and like the amount of supplies I have to bring so that I can just, you know, put it in my carry-on. So with this one, I learned pretty quickly that it was not an ideal traveling pattern because of all of the color changes. Look at all those color changes. I felt like I was threading my needle every 5 minutes. I probably was, honestly, on the plane rides. It worked out fine. I got it done. I didn't lose anything on the plane that I know of. I might have lost a needle, but I don't think I lost anything else. It was worth it, but it did teach me that this isn't great like travel stitching, because I was basically I had to like manage the, you know, ring of threads with all these colors. I had to manage my scissors, I had to manage my everything. So yeah, it just wasn't ideal, but I'm glad I did it anyway because it's gorgeous. So yeah, that one's my secret garden. I don't have any plans to pick her up anytime soon, but I am I'm feeling very motivated by how close I am to being done. I just have this little quadrant here and then the back stitched letters. So I really am very far along on this and would love to finish it, you know, sooner rather than later. I definitely want to finish it in 2025, and I think that's doable. It actually hasn't been called for WIPGO yet, so maybe when it gets called for WIPGO, I will feel up to doing it then. Oops, let me put this away, because if I don't, everything will be separated, and that's annoying. Okay, now let's see what else I have. Oh, this one is so great. Okay, I mean, I did work on a lot of like really great projects over the past couple of months. All right, so this one is my Ode to Libraries by Heartstring Samplery. Here's what the pattern looks like. I bought this from the Black Needle Society vault back in like December, but then she released it at Nashville this year, and so a lot of people have started it. It's been really fun to see everyone who's working on it. Jess from Sloan Stitches is working on it. We actually started it right around the same time on accident. It's just a really pretty pattern, and it feels very like apropos right now. It says, "The very existence of libraries affords the best evidence that we may yet have hope for the future of humanity." Love it. I love the sentiment. And so here's where I'm at. Oh, I love it so much. This is one of my favorite patterns right now, as far as like my favorite projects to work on, and I've had to consciously not pick it up. I've had to consciously not pick it up recently because I knew if I picked it up, I would just work on this, which is fine, really, but I also wanted to get some other stuff done. So, so I have really enjoyed working on it. This is on 40 count Picture This Plus linen by, the colorway is Valor. It's absolutely glorious. It's this beautiful, like dusty green with a little bit of a blue tint to it, and then also a little bit of like an olive tint to it. It's just a gorgeous color. I can't get over how pretty it is. I mean, Picture This Plus fabrics are so pretty, but some of them are just exceptional, and this is one of them. So you can see that there. I started this on April 8th, and the last time you saw it, it had like a very sad start. I think that was in episode 4, but since then I've worked on it for 7 days. Ooh, I got a bug. I've worked on it for 7 days, and I got 1,315 stitches in on it. I'm very proud of that. And I'm excited to be able to pick this up a little bit soon. Pick this up again soon, in a little bit. Okay. I do want to work on my Snow Queen and get some, you know, substantive progress on her, and then I'll probably come back to this pretty lady. I am doing, for this one, I am doing a conversion, just a fancy floss conversion with whatever I had in stash. I initially thought I would just get all the fancy flosses for it, but I realized I kind of wanted to be a little bit more strategic about that because I'm starting to acquire a lot of fancy flosses, and I wanted to make sure that I was actually using them. And so I just kind of went through my stash, and I found things that kind of were reminiscent of the colors that were called for. I did my best to match them up, you know, and make them kind of true to their intention of the designer, because I didn't really want to change like the colorway or like how it kind of looked, but I did want to just, you know, use colors I had on hand. So I'm feeling pretty good about the conversion. It is a little bolder than what's called for, and I think that is actually a good thing because this fabric is much darker and richer than the called for fabric. And so I think that these kind of darker and more like deeper colors show up really well on it and they don't disappear, they don't ghost, and they also don't like, it just gives it a slightly bolder look, which I like. I really love jewel tones, and that's kind of reflected in my fancy floss stash, and it's also going to be reflected in this this whip, or you know, this finished product. So I really had fun with that conversion, and hoping to just keep working on this one as I can. Really love it. It has 8,715 stitches, and I have a feeling this is one of those that's going to go kind of quick because I really, really am motivated. Like, I love working on it, and it's like a medium-sized project for me, but those medium-sized projects that I'm really obsessed with, I tend to get done pretty quickly because I tend to just kind of constantly want to work on them. Okay, I have one last whip to show you, and this is my Black Needle Society Downton Abbey retreat whip. So the Black Needle Society did kind of a special edition retreat in a box that is based on Downton Abbey, which is like probably my all-time favorite show, I think. If I had to, like, if you made me pick, it would probably be Downton Abbey. I've watched it at least twice all the way through, and I am now watching it a third time. So I'm a big fan. And so I'll show the pattern up here on the screen, obviously, but this is the first installment of the stitch along pattern, like the retreat pattern. This year's retreat was seasons 1 and 2. And so this pattern is meant to be like the first of a series of like parts, but it also can be stitched on its own. I thought that was really clever. Like kind of clever designing by Katie Landis, who is the designer for Black Needle Society. So like if I wanted to finish it, if I wanted to just stand alone, I could have it stand alone, but I, depending on, you know, how parts 2 and 3 and 4 look, I probably will continue to stitch it all the way around. So anyway, without further ado, here's where it stands. I didn't get a ton done, but I got, you know, some respectable progress done. It's been fun watching all the people who finished, because I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not there. But I never am when it comes to stitch-alongs. I don't keep up. We know this about me. So part 1 has 8,976 stitches. I have stitched 592. No, that's a lie. I've stitched more than that. It looks like I've stitched about almost 800. But I've only stitched it for 3 days. And I stitched it like during the virtual retreat. The virtual retreat was like a 4 or 5 day event, but it was at the same time that we were traveling home to West Virginia after my friend passed away. And so I participated for the first couple days, and then once I got to West Virginia, I really couldn't, it just wasn't possible to you know, log in and do all the fun stuff with the rest of the group. So I missed the bulk of the retreat. But for the days that I could participate, I did. I had even like taken off work, like called off work, and was planning on like doing the whole thing, like, you know, for real, and using it as kind of like some vacation days. And then I ended up having to travel on those days anyway, but it was fine. So that's where I'm at. This is kind of the central turret of the pattern. I don't really have any plans to bring this one out either. I like it, but I'm not like obsessed with it the way I am with like Ode to Libraries, for example. So I am not feeling like, you know, I'm not feeling any like pressure or intrinsic motivation to work on it. I think I'll just kind of continue to pick away at it as I'm in the mood to do so, and then we'll see where it gets. And I'm sure next year when the retreat time rolls around again in the spring, I'll be like super excited to, you know, pick it back up then and keep working on it and participate in the retreat and all that stuff. The retreat activities were really fun. They were all Downton Abbey themed, and they were all like, you know, they went in the order of the episodes in season 1 and season 2. It was really fun. I just, after like a day or two, I couldn't continue to do it. I'd like follow along, and I was bummed, but that's life, right? Life becomes lifey. All right, so that's all my whips. That's cool. Let's talk a little bit about plans. I'm still kind of in the mode of like mood stitching instead of like planned stitching, goal stitching. I am starting to feel a little bit more motivated to get some things done and finished. And, you know, I think part of that is like, I think when I'm stressed or distressed, I tend to not be able to focus on a single project. I tend to want to start something. I like the dopamine hit of starting a new project is really strong, and so it makes me feel good. Or I like look through my whips and just kind of see which one is like sparks a little bit of joy, and I work on that, and that's fine. I love that way of doing things. It makes me enjoy my stitching, and it helps my stitching be an outlet and like a source of comfort and joy when other things are maybe not going very well in my life, right? Or if I'm under stress or whatever from work. So I think I go through waves where I think I tend to be more of like an emotional stitcher, or like a, you know, just stitched based on desire or what I want to do in any given moment. More impulsive, maybe is the right word, which tracks with like the rest of my life as well when I'm feeling that way. But, you know, when things are a little calmer and I'm feeling more centered and like I currently am, I think I tend to think more about goals, right? And I'm interested in hearing if that's kind of a common experience. I don't know if I'm like weird or different in that way, or if that's just kind of how my brain works. all that to say, I have a goal. One of my goals is to stitch, so one of my goals is to stitch my spring seeds, my Korok Seasons spring bit by the end of June. So I'm gonna be working on that. I'm gonna be working on my Snow Queen because I want to make a lot of progress on her for Mira May and for Whipco. I've pretty much ignored Whipco and basically only worked on the Whipco goals if they made sense to me and if I wanted to work on them. So my Snow Queen fits the bill, great. But then I do have one other goal, and that is to start this pattern that I'll show here on the screen. This is actually doesn't have a name. I'm calling it the Mandalorian pattern because it's of the Mandalorian and of Grogu or Baby Yoda. I want to stitch this for Father's Day. So my family and I were huge Star Wars, we're just nerds, we're huge Star Wars fans. In particular, I love the Mandalorian. Like, I wasn't always like a Star Wars person, but the Mandalorian really, I loved it so much that it kind of got me into Star Wars. And our daughter is born on May 4th, which is Star Wars Day, which is so appropriate and just fun, right? So I really love this pattern because it shows the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda, and it reminds me a lot of my partner. And so I'm gonna stitch this for Father's Day. Am I gonna get it done by Father's Day? I mean, that's gonna be pushing it, but I'm gonna try, okay? I'm gonna try. It doesn't have a ton of stitches. I think it has like 3,500-ish stitches, so it's like maybe doable. It just depends on how things go. I also don't have a couple of the flosses I need. I need to get those, so I need to go to my local needle workshop and get those. I don't know how I don't have them, but they're just DMC colors that I somehow don't have. So all that to say, I'm gonna do that pattern. I'm gonna stitch it on this absolutely glorious fabric. This is a 32 count linen by Fortnite Fabrics in the colorway Pompous. I got this at from the D-Stash table at the Stitching Kitchen Retreat in April. It is so beautiful, so beautiful. So, and you can see like this side is a little more purple and this side is a little more blue. So I only am gonna need half of this fat quarter. So I'm gonna cut it so that this, the blue side is more prominent. So I'm kind of using that side, and then I'll save the purple side for whatever I want to use it for in the future. So you can see it's this gorgeous, like, it looks like the night sky kind of, right? Like, it's really pretty. I just can't get over how beautiful it is. And so I did several floss tosses because I couldn't figure out what fabric to use. And I was like, no, this fabric would never work. It's too similar to all the colors. But then I actually looked at the colors, the flosses against it, and was like, oh wait, that's perfect. This is the perfect fabric for this. I don't quite have it kitted up yet. I'm gonna do my best to just kind of like show it to you here. But here's what it will look like. Can you guys see? Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm afraid it's gonna fall. So it really is gonna look so awesome, I think. Whoop, there it goes. And the cool thing about the pattern is that it's like a silhouette pattern. And so inside the silhouette, it's all full coverage. And so I don't really have to worry about, I don't have to worry about certain colors not showing up or, you know, details not being shown, because it really is just gonna be a big blob of colors that I think will blend nicely together and will stand out enough. I'm dropping things. Will stand out enough on this fabric that it'll look really cool, and it'll kind of look like a galaxy or the night sky, right? So I'm very excited about that, very pleased with the way I think that's gonna turn out. Hopefully it turns out the way I think it will. If not, I'll call an audible and do it on a different fabric. So my goal is to start this, you know, sometime in the next couple weeks, and work on that, hopefully finish it close to Father's Day. I have very low expectations of my ability to meet deadlines when it comes to stitching, so it's not the end of the world if I don't. We don't make a huge deal about Mother's Day or Father's Day. We do little gifts and like little things, but it'll be okay if it's like a little bit late. I'll just show them my progress on that day and be like, hey, you're gonna get this eventually. So that's my plans. Those are my plans. I don't really have any other plans. We'll see how it actually all works out. Not stressing either way, and just really excited to work on some of my favorites right now and also start that new one. So as far as haul goes, I actually don't really have any haul. I had hoped to go to a local needlework shop in Seattle. I wanted to go to Threadneedle Street, which is has been made famous by the Thread Gremlins. So they talk about Denise, the owner of that shop, all the time, and I really wanted to go. Like, I was gonna go. And then I got there and I realized that it was like an hour to get there on public transportation. It was like an hour to get back, maybe a little bit longer. And I really couldn't find like a chunk of time where I would have that much time to get out there and then also shop and get back. My conference was just a little too jam-packed for that. And I didn't stay any like extra days before or after. So it just really didn't work out timing wise. I could have taken an Uber, but Ubers in Seattle are very expensive. They're like $75 to get to that place and $75 to get back. And I was like, Abby, no, don't do it. So I didn't do it. I was really bummed. Maybe someday I'll get to go. Okay, so, but what I did get is I got one pattern book, and this is very outside of my like normal kinds of pattern stuff, but there's a bit of a backstory. So I got a message on Instagram from Thick Threads, thick_threads. I will put their name up top. And he messaged me and was like, hey, I saw your last Flosstube, and I was on Mercari, I think that's how you say it, Mercari, which is like a secondhand, a resale website. And he was like, I thought of you, and I was just blown away at the thoughtfulness, right? And so then I go look at it, and it is a pattern book about Clemson University. My partner went to Clemson, his sister went to Clemson, his parents went to Clemson. They are like die-hard Clemson people. They have season tickets to like multiple sports. It's a big deal, which is why I stitched the thing I stitched for my mother-in-law, which I showed in my last video. So Thick Threads was so thoughtful and brought this to my attention. I immediately purchased it like that second because I was like, this is great. So it's vintage, man. It is, let me find out let me see when it was published, because it was a long time ago. 1980, before I was born. This is from before I was born. It has a ton of patterns in it. I can't really show them to you because there's no pictures of the patterns, there's just the patterns. I'll give you like a quick, let me give you like a quick one, quick flash of one. Maybe this one. So like, Clemson, see, okay. So they're all in that like black and white. They're all, there are no pictures, but there are some really cute patterns in here. And one of them is of Tillman Hall, which is a very like iconic building on the Clemson campus. And I think I'm going to stitch that one for my in-laws for Christmas. It's not that huge, it's only 119 by 90. It's pretty dense stitching, but I think it'll look really nice, and I think they'll appreciate it, and they'll put it up as artwork at their lake house, which is near Clemson. So I'm gonna do that. And there's also a really cute one that's a stocking of a tiger, the Clemson Tigers. It's a tiger striped stocking, and there's a little tiger popping out of it, and it says Mary, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 R's, like it's growling at you. Oh, it's really cute, y'all. So thank you, Thick Threads. You're the hero of this episode, because that was such a cool find. I would have never seen that or found it otherwise, and I feel like that is really cool. So I was showing my partner, and he was like actually really excited and impressed by it, which he's just kind of like whatever about my cross stitch. He's like, oh, that's cool, whatever. But he was like, what? They have a Clemson pattern book? And he was like getting all into it. It was really cute. So I showed him what I was gonna do for his parents, and he agreed that they would love it. So that will be on the docket. I'll probably start that in like July. I like to start Christmas in July, and I include like Christmas gifts in July. Like I start those in July, because otherwise I can't get them done. So. Okay, well, that's it for today. If you've stuck around, thank you so much. If you stuck around, let's see a tiger emoji. That would be fun. Let's do a little tiger emoji in the comments. For those of you who are returning viewers, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sticking around, even though it's been a while since I put an episode out, and even though my last episode was a little depressing. And thank you for the support that you've shown over the last couple months as I navigate this journey on Flosstube and also navigate some life stuff that was kind of hard. And if you're new here, I hope you will stick around and subscribe or comment or let me know where you're from. I'd love to learn about you. I'm really here to make friends and connect, so any opportunities for that would be much appreciated. And at that, I will sign off and say thanks again. I hope you're having a great week, and I hope you get lots of awesome stitching done. Bye.